people not exposed to it gradually would start to freak out, especially in conjunction with the plasma-based lights. Those lights, when I first started seeing them, and they took away the mimicry and the disguise of airplane lights and all this, and they started letting me see the real native alien form of these lights, I got dizzy. I got so dizzy I was sick. I started getting sick. Wow. Because these lights are so powerful. There's such an intensity about the pulsation of the light that it'll make you sick. I started to get sick. Just watching it on the video.
I've talked to other people who've said the same thing, actually. And they can feel the light move through them. They said they tried to describe it in different ways. Certainly, they're not normal lights.
That's right. And so my aliens, they're under some kind of a code. Most aliens are to mimic themselves. So they can. These aliens that fly around over this area, many times they can configure the light on their triangular craft. They can configure their lights into almost any kind of airplane. They can make it look like a Cessna. They can make it look like a jet. And they can make it sound like a Cessna or like a jet. And if you weren't, like I said before, if you weren't trained, you wouldn't notice it. You would never know. You'd be totally fooled. And, they just don't want to draw attention to themselves right now. They only want to reveal themselves to those that are open to them. And, to spark other people that are kind of skeptical. Occasionally they will do something out of the ordinary, to convince people.
Well, the fact that they can disguise themselves so well really makes me wonder how many of them there are around. Because I've talked to other people who've said the same thing, that they've seen UFOs disguised as cars and trucks. And
speaking of...
One guy said he was followed home by a helicopter, and he rushed into his house, and this thing turned into a typical flying saucer right over his house.
Unbelievable, huh?
So they can disguise themselves, definitely, yeah.
In one of my videos from last fall, one of the triangular craft comes in, and it looks like a police car in the air. I think they were doing it it was a little bit of humor there.
Wow, really?
Because it kind of looks like a police car up in the sky at nighttime, and I said, with kind of lights, blue lights and then a red light on top and all this. And I said, this is weird. This is kind of funny.
So
but anyway.
What do you know about the ET or the person who's in contact with you? Do you know her history at all?
Not too deeply, because I'm in preliminary contact. So this is all like introductory between she and I. I will say this though, on my third trip out there in 2007, it was October. It was a month after the last trip when she did the aerial movements. That time, on that third trip, she let me see her physically. She came down on the street in Pine Bush in the area, and she let me see her, but she didn't talk to me, but she just let me know it was her. And she was incredibly beautiful. They look Scandinavian, or she looks Scandinavian, or Swedish.
How did she let you know? You were walking down the street and you just saw her, and
yeah, I was in a parking lot, got out of my car, and I just noticed this incredibly beautiful blonde sitting in this car next to me, and she just kept looking at me, and then all of a sudden I got telepathy. It was her, and it was very out of place. Their eyes, these beings have ovally eyes. Their eyes are more circular than ours. They're wider, and like I said, they look kind of Scandinavian. She looks almost Scandinavian, but a little bit more exotic. High cheekbones, very wide eyes, really beautiful blonde hair.
Wow.
So she just let me know it was her. I wanted to go up and just give her my hand and say, "Is that you?" Is it really you? But, you know, they don't allow too close a contact right away. It has to be graduated. You have to earn it. You have to, there's a protocol. In fact, she told me that, she said the reason it has to be this way is because, she said, our brainwave resonance is derived from deep meditational states like TM, or transcendental meditation. She told me they practice a form of meditation that's comparable to transcendental meditation as taught by the Maharishi Yogi.
Wow.
And so I've been since learning how to do TM a little more.
Very interesting.
She said comparable, you know, she said like TM. So there's many different states of meditation as long as it gets you into the place. What's really important, she said, is, you know, is to get into the higher state, brainwave states, which are theta and alpha, and not be in beta. So people think, oh, aliens, they're so intense, their vibrations are so much higher. Yes, in their physical realm, when they're dealing with their physical things, they can be in the beta state, but most of the times I will say that these beings are in the alpha and the theta state, because even when they're doing, you know, they're in the physical world, in their ships and all this kind of thing, their normal resonance of their brainwaves are mostly in the alpha and in the theta realm, because, and so that means that they are much more relaxed than we are, these
Right.
beings. So that means they're not as intense as we are in the physical world, you know, craziness down here in this physical world. They really know how to relax. They have a very relaxed demeanor, and they're not excited. They don't get as excited as we do and jumpy and all this kind of thing.
Very, very interesting. You know, I totally am resonating with what you're saying. I was once at a UFO meeting, and it was a very small meeting, just 4 or 5 of us, and one of the ladies was a contactee. And at one point, everyone started getting really sleepy, and I managed to stay awake. My brother, he fell asleep, actually, and the room, you could feel almost a little bit of whitish mist at one point, and it passed, and I didn't think too much of it, but the lady said that the ETs had come and were there, and you could feel their presence, and definitely there was, you know, that energy change, and you almost slipped into delta state, or you know, you wanted to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Just by being next to them.
Yeah, it's very special, isn't it?
Very
special.
It is. And I think that they are very interested in people who are having spiritual development, and they're interested in and that's the thing that's most common, I think, when people have contact. When people are taken aboard a UFO, it's interesting, the most common experience is that they're examined, but the second most is that they're given messages of ecological warnings or nuclear proliferation, or taught psychic skills. That's very, very common. Healing, things like this.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
We hear so much about these negative abductions, but cases like yours, there's another guy I'm talking to in Nevada. His case is almost identical to yours in a lot of ways.
He's a contactee?
Yeah, and he met these guys face to face once on the street, and they were pretending, I guess you could call it, to be musicians, or carrying guitars, and he wasn't sure it was till after they left. But they, again, you know, it was a very similar case to yours, so
wow.
It's just very interesting.
Yeah.
Gary White, I think is his name. But yeah, we have like let me see, just about 5 or 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure you have a chance to tell what we need, you know,
sure,
need to say.
So go on to the next level. I mean, your interview. I wish I had,
So you're writing all this stuff down, right?
I had something I wish my emails had gotten to you prior to the show, so that we could have more of a format. But there was a spam blocker up or anything. Anyway, so so where's this? The importance of it all, I think, is where it's all leading is that they want us to know that in order to have contact with them, we need to evolve spiritually, and